This gives hope to cases for family members or communities or detectives who are so invested in some of these cold cases and have been working on them for decades. To be patient, forensics keeps getting better and better, and hopefully one day we'll be able to solve their case as well.
Tonight, we're digging into DNA testing in cold cases. Just this year, we've seen dozens of decades-old cold cases that have been solved using DNA. Here in Oklahoma City Police announced today they've solved a 50-year-old cold case using new DNA technology. The sample collected by the department when Leila Johnston was murdered back in 1976 and preserved well enough to be compared to profiles of people who voluntarily submitted samples to genealogy websites. As Fox 25's Katie Arata explains, this is the first case the department has ever solved this way.
I just couldn't believe it. After all these years, to finally have an answer.
48 years after 68-year-old Leila Johnston was murdered, her loved ones finally have closure.
I thought it would never be finished. It had been so long.
Oklahoma City police say Johnston was raped and strangled to death inside of her duplex in May of 1976.
Detectives responded to the scene back then, worked their case up, got some evidence, started trying to track down leads, but ultimately none of that panned out. There was evidence to be tested, but back then they didn't have the ability.
Nearly 30 years later, in 2004, the cold case unit began looking at the case again and got a full DNA profile of the suspect.
The profile was entered into a national database. No hits, no matches. Kind of went cold again for several years.
With the progression of DNA technology, police took another look at the case last year, contacting DNA Labs International to help.
Really, it's a testament to the Oklahoma City Police Department that they collected the evidence appropriately at the time of the crime and saved it all of these years. And not only saved it, but in conditions where the DNA is preserved.
Using the preserved DNA, doctors were able to compare it to genetic profiles of people who voluntarily submitted their DNA samples to genealogy websites.
And they can download their profiles, and then they can go to these two public databases and upload them and opt in for law enforcement. And by opting in for law enforcement, that means that we can use those profiles to try to help identify unidentified human remains, as well as criminal cases as well.
Though the testing took some time, it eventually led police to the suspected murderer, Charles Droke.
In this particular case, we use the Kintelligence system, and that's for very degraded forensic samples. And because that testing is so sensitive, that's why we were able to get a result in this case and ultimately a resolution to find out who the individual was.
Reporting for Fox 25 News, I'm Katie Arata.
Droke will not be prosecuted in this case because nearly 13 years after police say he murdered Leila Johnston, Charles Droke was murdered by his own brother, who had recently been released from prison. There are a lot of efforts to solve cold cases, including the organization DNA Doe Project, founded in 2017. Their goal is to identify John and Jane Does using investigative genetic genealogy. They solved their first case in March of 2018. You can see from their website, they've also had a hand in several Oklahoma-related cases. One that's still active, a 1990 Jane Doe case in LaFleur County. She was found dead in the sleeper cab of an overturned semi-truck. The DNA Doe Project was asked by OHP to help in September of 2020. So far, they have not been able to make a positive ID. This Doe only has distant relations matching on the databases, a common issue as those databases are still being built up. They say the other roadblock, this Doe is a black woman.
When we have to go back that far back in history for people who are of African American descent, we are finding ourselves squarely in the time of enslavement. A new match might suddenly appear in a database. We are always checking. It just takes the right person testing and uploading the information to the database.
One of the most notable Oklahoma cold cases in the DNA Doe Project has helped with is the Lime Lady. On April 18th of 1980, fishermen found the body of a young woman on the banks of the North Canadian River near Jones. The woman had been shot several times, her body covered in the chemical known as lime. No way to immediately identify her. She became known as the Lime Lady, and her case went cold. In 2018, the Oklahoma County Sheriff's Office reached out to the DNA Doe Project, took a little time to sequence DNA from the women's bones, but on October 30th of 2019, the genealogy process began, and that December, authorities confirmed through Army dental records the Lime Lady was Tamara Lee Tigert. Now, 39 years after her body was found, genealogy was able to ID Tammy in a matter of weeks. More than a year later, her family would search Tammy's name on Google and discover the stunning news.
My daughter called me and she said, "Mama," she goes, "are you sitting down?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "I think I found your cousin." I do have that closure, but I miss her very badly to this day. I still do.
Genealogy also played a role in a nationally known case with Oklahoma ties, a Cushing woman known to the world as Baby Holly. Her biological parents found murdered outside of Houston in 1981, labeled as Jane Doe 701 and John Doe 703. Wasn't until 2021 and the use of genetic testing. They were identified as Dean and Tina Klaus. It was later learned they had joined a traveling religious group and their baby Holly had been dropped off at a church in Arizona before the couple went missing.
From the moment I heard that, what about the baby? I felt like, her mother was dead and she had, family that was alive that I was speaking to, but I felt this responsibility to find her.
In June of 2022, detectives walked into an Oklahoma diner where Holly Marie, who had been adopted as a baby, was working. That's when she learned her biological parents had been murdered and she had family out there searching for her. Since then, she's been working with the genealogist who worked on her case, and together, the two are helping other families find answers through their organization, Genealogy for Justice.
DNA is the shortage right now. There's lots of DNA testing, consumer testing sites out there for you to do that with. But there's only 2 in the entire world that will allow you to opt in to let the law enforcement and genealogists use your DNA to solve more cold cases like my birth parents.
While Holly Marie says helping just one family would be worth it, she's still left with many unanswered questions about what happened to her parents. To this day, their murder case still unsolved. So we know DNA genetic testing can give families the closure they've been wanting for decades, but how does all this actually come together and happen? The Forensic Science Institute at the University of Central Oklahoma gave Fox 25's David Chazanoff the full rundown. David, what can you share with us tonight?
Adam, step by step, it's a very thorough process. A UCO professor here showed me the expensive, authentic technology they use in class.
This is how it looks right here.
At the University of Central Oklahoma,
We try to mirror our equipment based on what the forensic community is using at the moment.
Associate Professor Rhonda Williams has 15 years of forensic DNA field experience.
We kind of work in order from this way to this way.
In her class, students start out by putting a DNA sample into what she calls a concentration machine.
It lets us know how much DNA we have, lets us know maybe if we have degradation, because the samples have degraded over time.
Then they put the sample into what Williams considers to be a fancy color copier.
Push the buttons, and it cranks out exponential copies of DNA for you that we fluorescently label.
The next step is putting the DNA into a genetic analyzer.
The great thing about it is it runs within 45 minutes. It can show you your DNA sample.
The equipment you see right here could help solve some cases within a day, depending on the sample. Leslie Perry with OSBI tells me the future of this type of testing is looking bright.
I don't know where we're going to be in another 2 years, but it's going to get more research and more money, invested in it, and it's going to become something that we can do in-house. And it's going to be something we can do then on more cases. We'll be able to have more leads generated in ongoing cases rather than these cold cases.
Things are definitely looking bright for the future. The OSBI says with cold cases, it's important to take good care of old evidence, otherwise the test won't be as effective. Reporting live in Edmond, David Chazanoff, Fox 25 News.
Thank you, David. And DNA fingerprinting and familial testing haven't always been enough to solve crimes, especially when dealing with cold cases. But according to a UK genealogy company, evolving DNA technology given law enforcement officials some new ways to use DNA to track down criminals. One of the most famous examples of DNA solving a long-standing cold case is the identification of the Golden State Killer. For years, the person responsible for a series of crimes committed in the 70s and 80s remained unidentified. The breakthrough came decades later in 2018 when law enforcement used investigative genetic genealogy. They took DNA evidence from one of the old crimes, uploaded it to a public database, which identified relatives of the Golden State Killer. Eventually, they were able to track down Joseph DeAngelo. Even in just the few years since that match was made, that technology has continued to advance.
So when they had the Golden State Killer case back in 2018, the technology we were using at the time required way more DNA than what we need now. So as the technology gets better and it's more geared towards forensics, we're able to take smaller samples of DNA, also DNA from mixed DNA profiles where we have the DNA from more than one individual. So really the future is endless in this.
Following the successful conviction of the Golden State Killer, Swedish law enforcement carried out a pilot study on investigative genetic genealogy in an attempt to solve a 16-year-old double murder cold case. Reports show this actually led them to two brothers, one of whom confessed and was later convicted of the murders. Now, cold cases solved with the help of DNA technology have been making headlines all year. Among the most recent ones, a case out of Nevada. The White family finally having answers about the murder of their sister, Melanie White, who was killed in 1994. Now, in 2021, the Metro Police teamed up with the nonprofit Vegas Justice League, and this summer, they finally found a positive match to Arthur Lavery, who died 3 years ago.
The detectives who have been working on this and Othram Lab who have been, finding answers, they're the ones who do all the work. But just to be a small part of that, you just feel the impact of that, and it's overwhelming.
This is the nonprofit's 9th solved cold case in Nevada, and for the White family, they say they had never heard of Lavery, but after 30 years, they do say they finally feel at peace. Now, another case in the headlines this year where DNA played a major role is a New Jersey 1997 cold case. The suspect at the center of a decades-long murder cold case appeared in court in New Jersey yesterday. Robert Crater, accused of strangling 23-year-old Tammy Tigner in 1997. Police say he'd been linked to the crime through DNA found at the crime scene. With the help of new technology, investigators were able to amplify the DNA evidence and make a connection to Crater.
He has 16 prior indictable convictions from 1992 to 1999 for aggravated assault, aggravated sexual assault, terroristic threats, theft, unlawful possession of a weapon, and resisting arrest.
In addition to DNA, police revealed an eyewitness in 1997 said they saw Tigner in Newark getting into an orange van. He'll now face a murder charge for the strangulation of Tigner, and his next court appearance scheduled for next month. It's not just investigators working on cold cases. A group of college students from New Jersey helped solve a decades-old murder of a hitchhiker in Wisconsin. According to the report, Mary Schlace was found dead in Dunn County, Wisconsin, 1974. And for decades, the case was left unsolved until this year, when investigators partnered up with Ramapo College of New Jersey to solve the case by using investigative genetic genealogy, by using a stocking cap they found at the scene. And after collecting DNA from multiple potential relatives, led to 84-year-old John Miller. Miller now facing first-degree murder and is awaiting extradition to Wisconsin. Genetic testing results being utilized for solving crime prompted privacy concerns, some states taking matters into their own hands to address this issue. Back in 2021, Maryland and Montana became the first states to enact laws regulating how direct-to-consumer genetic databases can be used by law enforcement during criminal investigations. According to the National Conference of State Legislatures, both require police to obtain a court order before accessing a database. Maryland's law narrows access even more, only to databases that inform consumers their genetic information could be used for investigative purposes. Now, while some states are stressing privacy rights, Florida taking a little bit of a different approach. House Bill 533 mandates that everyone arrested in the state of Florida submit their DNA, part of an effort to find answers to more than 20,000 unsolved homicides.
I think that bill was the signature piece of legislation that I'm most proud of. And I believe that today there are people that were not injured or children molested because of that bill.
Since its rollout in March, more than 150,000 samples have been collected and added to the FBI's national database. That was our big story breakdown. You can find more on our full investigation of DNA testing and cold cases on OKCFox.com. We've got all kinds of previous big story breakdowns on our YouTube page as well. Scan the QR code right there on your screen or search OKC Fox.